I never expected a single night to change everything. My name is Jake, and I thought my relationship with Olivia was rock solid. We had been together for 5 years, lived together for 3, and shared a life that felt safe, predictable, and intimate. On the surface, everything was perfect, but perfection has a way of hiding cracks until it's too late. It all started with a simple disagreement. Olivia and I were planning a weekend getaway, something casual to unwind from work. But she seemed distant, distracted, scrolling through her phone with a secretive smile. I asked her what was wrong and she shrugged, saying, "Nothing, just some friends chatting." Something in her tone felt off, but I didn't press it. I had learned over time that pressing often led to arguments, not clarity. That night, after she went to bed, I noticed a series of unusual messages on her phone. Messages from a guy named Ryan, a name I didn't recognize. I didn't jump to conclusions immediately. I wanted to understand first, but the tone of the messages, playful and flirty, set off an uneasy feeling in my chest. I decided to keep an eye, not out of obsession but out of self-preservation. I needed to know if the trust one had built with Olivia was real, or if I was being played. The next day I acted normal. I went to work, replied to emails, and kept up appearances. But in my mind I was calculating, observing, analyzing. By late evening, Olivia noticed my quiet tension. "What's wrong with you?" she asked. I smiled, brushing it off. "Just tired," I said. But she didn't buy it. There was a pause, a hesitation in her eyes, and then she said, "Jake, maybe you're overthinking things." I wanted to believe her, wanted to trust that it was nothing. But I also knew one thing from experience. When someone tries too hard to reassure you, they are often hiding something. That night, she blocked me on her social media accounts and her phone overnight. No warning, no explanation, just a silent blackout that left me staring at my screen, heart racing and mind spinning with questions. Most people would panic in that situation. Most people would beg, call, demand answers. But I didn't. I had learned early in life that panic rarely solves anything. Instead, I stayed calm, analyzed the situation, and made a decision. She may have blocked me, but she forgot one crucial detail. I was still paying attention. I wasn't going anywhere. I wasn't blind. And I had a way of uncovering truths she thought she could hide. By the following morning, the tension in the house was palpable. Olivia acted casual, as if nothing had happened, but I could see it in the small things. The way she avoided my gaze, the subtle stiffness in her movements. I waited, silently, letting her believe she had won a temporary victory. But deep down I knew the game had just begun. She had underestimated my patience, my awareness, and my determination to see the truth. By Tuesday, the silence between us had grown like a storm cloud, heavy and suffocating. Olivia was careful now, deliberate in her movements, her eyes darting away whenever I looked at her. I didn't confront her immediately. Confrontation would have forced her to hide, to build walls. Instead, I observed, taking note of everything. Her habits, her messages, the small slips that revealed more than she intended. I remembered a lesson my father once taught me. People reveal their true selves in moments of comfort and carelessness. Watch those moments closely. And that's exactly what I did. Every laugh she stifled, every glance at her phone, every subtle reaction. It all painted a picture I couldn't ignore. By Wednesday evening, I had gathered enough to know something wasn't right. There was a pattern in the timing of her messages, the way she avoided conversations, and the way her friends were suddenly more involved in her life than before. I stayed composed, pretending all was normal. I even cooked dinner, keeping a smile that masked the storm brewing inside. But I could feel her tension, a mirror of my own, growing with every passing hour. Thursday came with a subtle confrontation. Olivia, noticing my calm scrutiny, tried to explain herself. "Jake, it's nothing serious," she said, voice soft, almost pleading. "I just needed some space." "You're overreacting." I nodded, letting her speak, letting her believe she had the upper hand. But inside I knew the truth. That night I decided to act, not with anger, not with shouts, but with strategy. I retrieved a few of her messages that had been mistakenly left logged on her email while she was sleeping. Names, times, playful tones. They were enough to confirm my suspicions. She wasn't just seeking space. She was crossing boundaries I had trusted would never be crossed. The next morning I didn't accuse her immediately. Instead, I maintained normalcy, asking about her day, discussing mundane topics, all while silently piecing together the extent of what had happened. Her attempts to act casual only made the reality sharper. The deception, the betrayal, the deliberate attempt to hide a secret life while keeping our shared home intact. By Friday, the final confrontation was inevitable. I asked her to sit with me in the living room after the kids had gone to school. She hesitated, sensing the gravity in my tone, the calm determination I carried. "Olivia," I began quietly, "I know what's been happening. I know about Ryan." Her eyes widened, panic flashing for a brief moment, then quickly replaced by composure. "Jake, she started, but I cut her off gently. "It's not about yelling or blame. It's about trust. And when trust is broken even a little, it changes everything." She looked away, silence stretching between us. I could see the guilt and fear flickering in her eyes, but I also saw resignation. Deep down, she knew she had underestimated me. She had blocked me overnight, thinking she could control the narrative, thinking she could hide. But I was still covering everything. I was still aware. I was still present. The tension in the room was unbearable, yet I stayed calm. Olivia fidgeted, twisting her hands, her carefully crafted facade slowly crumbling. "Jake, I didn't mean for it to go this far," she whispered, almost pleading. But words alone couldn't undo the breach. I had seen enough to know that her intentions didn't matter anymore. The actions had already spoken louder than any excuse. I leaned back, letting the silence stretch. "You blocked me overnight," I said quietly, "but you forgot I was still covering everything. I saw it, I knew it, and I didn't lose my patience. I didn't yell. I didn't storm out. I waited. And now we're here." Her eyes filled with tears. She wanted a reaction, anger, despair, begging, but I didn't give it. My calm was more powerful than any outburst she could have anticipated. It was a reminder that control had shifted. The person she underestimated was the one who had remained observant, measured, and in command of his own emotions. I explained to her, in as few words as possible, what I had uncovered. Names, conversations, flirtations, small details she had thought were private, now laid bare. She didn't try to deny anything. The guilt was evident, written all over her expression. She had learned, too late, that blocking someone doesn't erase their awareness, and hiding actions in the dark cannot undo the consequences. After a long pause, I told her the hardest part. "I need to protect myself and the life I've built. Trust is gone. The foundation we built, the respect, the intimacy, it's shattered. I can't pretend it's the same anymore." Her face fell, but there was no surprise. Deep down, she had known this night would come. Over the following days, I implemented boundaries. Communication was limited to essentials, shared responsibilities, and the well-being of our home. Everything else was removed. Access to devices, personal accounts, private spaces. The life we had shared, filled with laughter, love, and closeness, was replaced with careful observation, quiet reflection, and distance. I also realized something important about myself. I had given everything to this relationship. Trust, patience, love, and understanding. And while she had misused it, I had maintained my dignity and composure. In the end, the lesson was clear. Never underestimate the power of quiet awareness. When someone tries to manipulate or deceive, it is patience, strategy, and clarity that reveal the truth. Not confrontation, not hysteria. Weeks later, Olivia and I coexist under the same roof. But the connection we once had is gone. The betrayal, the blocking, the secret flirtations, all of it has left a permanent scar. And yet, in this pain I find strength. I have learned to value my instincts, my calm, and my awareness above all else. She blocked me overnight, thinking she could escape scrutiny, but she forgot one thing. I was still covering everything, and that made all the difference. Sometimes silence and observation speak louder than any words. And in this case, it saved me from being blindsided, even if it couldn't save the relationship.